scheduled. All right, good. Still going. Well, welcome. It's Monday, March 20. No, well, now it's Monday. Just clicked over. Hey, V, how you doing? So I just ordered, what the heck? It's not going to really make a difference in their pocket or mine in the grand scheme of things. And considering how much damage I've done, I'm just going to go for it. And I just bought the hardcover. The summary of this is that the book, which was just pitched on Redacted and is probably going to soon be pitched on Tucker Carlson, I imagine, soon as well. The book, which we are being told is going to contain the official narrative, the official counter narrative, anyways, or the alleged real truth of COVID-19, and which shows the COVID-19 connections all the way to 9/11. This book called 311 Viral Takeover, written by Sonia Elijah, which was released on March 6, 2026. How you doing there, End of Day Prophets? This book is the very first book written by Sonia Elijah. And Sonia Elijah was married and I believe had 2 or 3 kids with the third alleged Trump assassin that occurred during the year 2024. Now, I don't know why no one else has picked up on it, other than there's just not many people doing real independent analysis of things. I swear to God, I wish there were a whole lot more people doing it, so I wouldn't have to do this. Now, the person who was that alleged presidential assassin, their name was Vem Miller, V-E-M, last name M-I-L-L-E-R. Their real name is actually Vem Yanovkian, Yenovkian. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it yet, End of Days, the 311 book. And I could be making a bad move here, but the idea is to get ahead of it. This book, this stinking book, the person who wrote it, it's their very first book. And keep in mind, their very first book and their first husband was a alleged potential. He was arrested and cleared of the charges. Assassin of Trump in the year 2024 at Coachella. I mean, come on. Come on. Now, if we go over to Vem Miller or Vem Yanovkian, I'm an artist. This is the man, okay? He was born in Canada, and I think he spent most of his life in the United States. His dad is a professor, Burj Yanovkian, who I think might have been working in Lebanon for a while. It's not really clear. His mom is a social worker, helps with food distribution in the Los Angeles area. Not exactly a wealthy class family. But Vem Yanovkian, or Vem Miller himself, has worked in the entertainment industry for quite a while. He's worked on multiple music video productions. There's a suggestion he's even visible in the background of a Kanye West video. That is correct. That is where the festival is held, correct. So he was also with Vice Media or Vice News. And the videos that he worked on, I wouldn't say that he was a high-tier video producer or performer. I mean, anyone that gets any kind of job in Hollywood with music video production is, I would say, better than average, okay? I don't mean to take anything away from him, but it's sort of like saying, like, look, there's a lot of people that can throw a football, and then there's a lot of people that can throw a football great, and then there's a bunch more of those, you keep reducing it, right, that can play football NFL level, but at the end of the day, there's only like one person born every 3 years that will ever win a Super Bowl. So, again, I'm not trying to say he's not a competent person, but he's been in the entertainment industry. Not big, but he's been there. And I think his kids spent some time in the United States. The paperwork suggests he's separated from his wife. It's not really clear when. Maybe sometime in 2020, or it could have even been 21. His wife's name as listed in a bunch of stuff that he uploaded. Very curious. I'm getting a little bit too deep into the weeds right now. We'll show you later on. Her name is Sonia Elijah. That's according to his own papers. And she's listed as a BBC journalist. So basically 100%, because, this is Sonia Elijah. I mean, and if you listen to some of his videos that he posted, you can kind of hear her voice in the background. And this book is being pushed by the Redacted group. And they just interviewed her, as I showed yesterday. Okay. So, Zev, his name is so confusing. Vem Miller started doing his own podcast around 2020, some America something or other show, which he then continued to expand upon. And he even moving to Nevada, claimed he did vote for Obama. It's the same story over and over again. And look, if you voted for Obama, great. A lot of people did. Whatever. And if you didn't, that's great too. But why are all the Obama voters turning into radical right-wingers? And then, though he's never used a gun before, potentially, he loads his trunk up with guns and goes to a Trump event at Coachella in October of 2024 in a car with what was described to be an obviously fake license plate, which is what led to the inspection of the car. And then they found the guns. And then they realized he was parked in a VIP area. So, of course, they inspected it and they found the guns, and then they arrested him. And the sheriff made a claim that he might have actually stopped an assassination. Of course, there's a big difference between driving into a parking lot with a car full of guns and actually shooting the president. But the whole story is stupid. He was released on $5,000 bond. The whole story is stupid. If he's a real gun owner, there's no way you accidentally go to a presidential rally with a trunk full of guns. None of it makes sense. It just seemed like it was done to get attention. Now, this is called metadata analysis, okay? Some people talk about metadata analysis, but let's look at Vem Miller, and what did I type in? Vem Miller, Steve Bannon. Now, keep this in mind, okay? Think about this. Vem Miller is involved in an assassination plot in the United States, all right? You got me there? Where is it being covered? Times of India, CNN, The Independent, News Nation, Hindustan Times, Radar Online. You know Radar? No one talks about Radar, but they have a huge article about him. Daily Mail, Folha Espolo, a Revista Form. I don't even know where that is. Daily Mail again, it's UK. I want to make a point. It's mostly UK and India news covering it. Why? Seriously, why? So this winds up getting covered heavily, this story, in the UK and in India. Now, he's Armenian. Armenia is not India, but India and Armenia are quite allied. Armenia has been involved in making many major weapon deals recently with India. The United States Vice President J.D. Vance has spent a lot of time in Armenia regarding pitching weapons sales, artificial intelligence, building data centers there, investing in Armenia. So there's something going on there. And then there's another very odd data point. So let's go to the Houstonic ITS, Houstonic.live, and go to UVW, Richard Verma. It's one of the names that no one likes to mention. United States Ambassador to India under the Obama administration, Richard Verma, who helped set up the IT infrastructure at the Winberg Cancer Research Center in Pennsylvania with Robert Malone. Richard Verma, who worked for Harry Reid in Nevada. Oh, that's right. He was in Nevada years later. Just saying, weird data point, okay? Harry Reid in Nevada, also the Deputy Secretary of State. But the thing with Richard Verma is he is married, I think it's Blackwell, Black. His wife is Sonia Sharagian Blackwell. No, actually, that's his mother-in-law. His wife, Richard Verma's wife, is an Armenian woman whose grandfather was involved in revenge assassinations as payback for the Armenian genocide. So the hookup, at least within the United States, between the United States relationship with Armenia and the United States relationship with India is very serious and very deep, and it's definitely wrapped up around Richard Verma, who's a name that no one mentions, and no one mentions it for very good reasons. Anyways, so going back, so he's Armenian, and I hate to say this, but I'm noticing that there's a lot of Armenians that seem to be part of the fake MAGA, fake America, fake populist, fake right movement. You know, they lead with a, they're going to fight the trannies, they're going to fight the pedos, and, they talk about the Armenian genocide, and they, if you look at his videos, he's constantly, fear-mongering about China and Islam. And then he'll actually cry that, people pick on him as part of anti-Armenian hatred. Now, this is America, and, our blood is many colors, but I'm sorry, you can't just be part of the United States of America and get paid by someone to throw hatred one way, and then, very sneakily let other relationships off the hook. I'm sorry. It doesn't fly here. But what really ticks me off is that when you're also married to the person that's writing the book or written the book that's now being pushed as the ultimate truth. So Sonia Elijah, let's look at her videos, okay? So here, this guy here, this is, this dude here is the one who just recently interviewed the Sonia Elijah. So let's look at Sonia Elijah Investigates, okay? Sonia Elijah, you can find her channel there, all right? This is Sonia Elijah's channel. And let's look at the videos. We're going to list out all the videos. We're going to go. Her very first video is Nick Hudson, Panda Group in South Africa. And the very third video is Robert Malone. Her third video 4 years ago is Robert Malone. Robert Malone, who set up the Winberg Cancer Research Center. Robert Malone, who set up the Winberg Cancer Research Center with the legal counsel of Richard Verma, who was the United States ambassador to India, who's married to an Armenian woman whose grandfather was involved in revenge assassinations as part of getting back at Turkey for the Armenian genocide. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. And here we are, Mr., Crimea River, what's his name? I can't keep all of these Armenian names straight. Oh yeah, Yanovkin, saying, don't pick on me, I'm Armenian. And then he does videos that we need to be worried about China planting babies. Well, I'll just say it, okay? The day that Chinese babies born as anchor babies in the United States are running the National Institutes of Health and incapable of understanding the life expectancy was going down because of an opioid epidemic, I will call it out. Until then, we have an Indian national running the National Institutes of Health and the CDC in the United States, equally incapable of understanding the life expectancy is going down because of an opioid epidemic that they won't call out. But there's other people that won't call out the opioid epidemic as well. For example, Sonia Elijah. For example, Robert Malone. For example, Nick Hudson. As a matter of fact, who is she? Jessica Rose. No opioid epidemic. Matter of fact, she's done the math, and she doesn't believe that life expectancy drops have anything to do with the opioid epidemic. Kevin McKernan, he's done the math. He doesn't think life expectancy drops have anything to do with the opioid epidemic. So again, yeah, maybe I'm going to be a little snarky and a little pissed off at a couple of Armenian podcasters who are claiming the high road, claiming the knowledge of what caused COVID-19, pushing, where the heck did it go? Pushing this piece of trash in my direction and not talking about the opioid epidemic. Exactly what Robert Malone is ignoring. But it gets better, guys. It gets better because this dude here, who is claiming to get extra visibility now because he was going to be a Trump assassin or something like that. One of the very first people to write about him with multiple Substack articles was George Webb. And George Webb was sued by Robert Malone. Robert Malone sued George Webb, and then George Webb goes and blogs about him being involved in weapons trafficking, meaning George Webb only has wrong things to say about him, but is missing the fact that Robert Malone is using his ex-wife to write the book about why COVID is really because of, guess what? A lab leak from China. It's a lab leak from China. Oh, and it's Fauci bad. Oh, and it's Palantir and the Jews and Israel and the control grid. And it's because the FDA is bad and all this other shit. No opioid epidemic. No mention of supplemental oxygen. None at all. No mention at all of population pyramid. They ignored it. They missed it. Multiple people worth hundreds of millions of dollars who are still asking for buy me a coffee money are refusing to understand or identify the most obvious causes of the data that we see manifested and represented as COVID, hiding the fact that people were just flat out murdered. Why did some of the shots cause problems and others not? Well, maybe because many were placebos. It's that simple. So, getting back to it, let's look at his videos. Let's look at Ben Miller's videos, okay? Because you can look at the whole channel, because this is where it gets 10 times more disgusting. Let's see who he's been interviewing. Come on. Let's see who he has interviewed. He has interviewed, let's go down the list here, okay? Let's see here. He's interviewed Scott Schara, 3 times he's interviewed Scott Schara, who lost his daughter Grace. Scott Schara is only willing to say that Trump killed his daughter because Trump is Satan, and what you need to do to save America is not vote. We have a bunch of people running around waving flags, saying they're Americans, saying they're real conservatives, real libertarians, and they all have an answer for you. Their answer is to not vote. Why don't they go around to Democrats and tell them not to vote? Why? Oh, that's right. Peter Duke, you probably know him. He spends all his time bending over George Webb, claiming that he lost a house rental in some photos. Come on. He's begging for money. He spent time with multi-millionaire Matt Crawford. Matt Crawford could give Peter Duke $1 million and probably not even miss it. And Matt Crawford spent time on cruises with guess who? Nick Hudson and Robert Malone. So you have someone who's worth $100 million, someone who's worth $10 to $100 million, and someone that made at least $10 million on Bitcoin, hanging out with a guy that's crying, you lost some photos in a fire. Give me money for buying me a coffee. I don't have Social Security. This is Peter Duke. With George Webb, who was blogging about this asshole. This Zev Miller, Kokorkian, Kakrakakian. I don't know. I can't keep the name straight anymore. All I know is we had the second largest loss of life event in the history of the United States, the opioid epidemic, over these last 10 years, 12 years, and adjusted for population, second only to the United States Civil War. And these assholes are willing to use that data to justify their book sales and their narrative and their mRNA story and their Chinese lab leak story. All the data which came from China, from India. And we have the Hindustan Times, the Times of India, the Bombay Times, and all the UK independent newspapers all telling you the story about what happened with this asshole. And if they happen to capture your attention, they have an answer for you. Don't vote. Just stop voting. Look, I'll be the first to acknowledge that voting is effed in the United States of America. There's a lot of the numbers I don't trust. It's screwy. I don't like the options. I could go on for hours on it, okay? But frustrates the heck out of me. Anyways, let's continue on because I want to go. It's not just Scott Shara. It is. It's not just Scott Shara. These are all the Zeb Miller videos. Okay, they're fantastic. It's what's his name? Renz. That the guy who did. That's right, Renz. You know, the person that actually got the data that the United States military was killing people with experimental vaccines. You know who blogged about that? Matt Crawford, the guy who took Peter Duke out on the beach. The same guy that's worth several $1 million and claims that I somehow hurt his feelings because I triggered his bad memories that his parents were part of some military sex UFO cult or something like that. I can't make this shit up. I don't even know what I said. And if I did, so what? You know what? Good news, you're alive. You know what a survivor is? Last I checked, it means someone who's not dead. And if you're not dead, if you've been traumatized and you're not dead, you should be spending your time dealing with raising awareness of people who are dead. Not saying, look at me, I'm a survivor, I'm a survivor. You should say, well, thank goodness I'm a survivor. I should talk about all these people that were murdered. Meaning that all of these people are saying, I'm a survivor, I'm a survivor, I'm an Epstein survivor. You know what you are? You're a traitor. If you're ignoring the fact that we had mass murder during COVID, you are a traitor if you want all of that ignored so you can continue to cry about your surviving. We're all survivors. I don't even want to talk about some of the things that I've survived. You don't want to hear, I don't want to hear half the things that you guys have survived. You survived, you're alive, good. You get to fight another day. It doesn't mean you get to block out all of the deaths of the people that did die because you're a survivor. Anyways, let's just keep on going because, of course, Patrick Byrne. That's right. This billionaire is going to be talking to this guy. But it's also going to include Brian Hooker of CHD. It's also going to include General Flynn. It's also going to include, I made a list. It's, what's her name? Tina Peters. It's, there's, what's his name? He was on McCarran all the time, Richard Fleming. Oh, yeah, here's the Renz guy. He's Matt Crawford's butt buddy, with all of the military data. There's the General Flynn interview. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. And you can tell, when did he start making his videos? Oh, he covered all the election stuff and missing ballots, and I don't even know. And it started basically like what? Right after COVID started. Right after COVID started, he starts making videos. He starts podcasting. He starts making noise. He talks about the Canadian truckers, which is funny because his wife also spent time talking about Canadian truckers. She went there too. Look, there she is making her videos about the Canadian truckers. So she's there talking about the Canadian truckers. He spends time talking about Canadian truckers. Meanwhile, oh yeah, talking to Scott Shara, who, geez, how many people died because he's basically obscuring what happened. And it's so sad. His own daughter died. Yet somehow he's still willing to put on a smile and not allow the opioid epidemic to get the attention it deserves. His own daughter was murdered, and he's still willing to participate in it. And there's just something not right about that, guys. I'm sorry. There's something not right about that. Let's see if I can actually pull up that stuff here, because I did save that. Oh, yeah, and here, as you can see, I mean, this is just one article saved about Miller, his time with producer of Sweatshop Media, filmed for History Channel, True TV, Spike TV. Yeah, this is him. Of course, it's a Hollywood guy. Just like Courtney Turner, who's got her IMDb Hollywood whatever card. And Courtney Turner was also made a reel because of, that's right, Robert Malone. Robert Malone and his wife got into a fight with Courtney Miller and her husband. That's how we know that Courtney Turner is the real deal, because Robert Malone got into a fight with them. Unbelievable. So they're all part of a book which is going to cover up the opioid epidemic. They're going to use the deaths of Americans. They're going to use data from India to tell a story about what happened in my country, our country. That's what they're trying to do. And I don't know if I can stop them, even them. Newfoundland surfer girl, and Kevin McKernan, who's, I think, dad was a good engineer and businessman, but he's just a fat loser who likes to play with a lightsaber. And then you have, what's his name, Jonathan Cooey lookalike with Sayer G, Claire Craig, all the people that Jonathan Cooey has been highlighting with the heads. The heads, man. You're looking at the heads. Sometimes he goes too far. He'll be the first to admit it. And yeah, look, they were promoting her all the way back then. All the way back then, before they realized they had to write a book. And it's just sad that here we are. And now we have, oh yeah, here he is posing for a photo with RFK Jr. I mean, I don't think RFK Jr. knows him, but he did. This Zeb Miller, the person who was married, I think he still might be married. Oh yeah, what I wanted to show you were these videos from BitChute here. These are his videos, Miller's videos that he's posted on BitChute. He posted all these videos. First of all, he's trying to make a documentary highlighting the third assassination hoax. All these videos about a child custody case and kidnapping with his ex-wife, Sonia Elijah. It's so weird. And about how she's been drugging the kids, and the kids are getting better. They're not getting better. They're showing damage. Look, I mean, he's the person posting photos of his kids on here. Guys, this is messed up. So either he's really in a custody battle over kidnapping and drugging with his wife, Sonia Elijah, who is the author of the book, without a doubt. Okay, without a doubt. There's no way. He just happens to be married to the one Sonia Elijah in England, who also happens to be a BBC journalist, as was stated in the court papers. and they all know the same people. It's not possible. Meaning, the third, and I know it was a staged fake assassination, okay? But the third assassination attempt on Trump in 2024, that person was the husband, or maybe still is the husband, of the person whose now book is being used to suggest it is the truth about COVID-19. We have foreign infiltrators in the United States of America working with foreign authors, which is fine. I mean, 96.5% of the world is foreign to the United States. So, I mean, it's like someone in Peru saying foreigners. It's like, most people don't live in Peru. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Within the context of my country, the narrative, what happened in my country, is being dictated by people who have no allegiance to my country. I would not expect people in China or India, who I've been harping on lately, but with all due respect, people within India should make up their own mind about whatever challenges or successes happen within India. It stands to reason. They should not be controlled. I mean, same with the United States controlling what's happening in different Middle East countries right now. It's very complicated, but the U.S. shouldn't be doing it generally. So why are people with no allegiance to the United States dictating how Americans should be ignoring their own drug epidemic, which is 1 out of every 30 deaths, all ages, all reasons, for the last several years, instead of having 18,500 fatal drug overdoses a year in the United States, as we had in like the years 1998, 1999, we have close to 120,000. We have a 6x increase and no one's talking about it. Instead of talking about a lab leak from China dropping life expectancy and shots killing kids, even though it's just freaking placebos. No talk about intramuscular injection. No talk about the population pyramid causing birth rates to go down. No talk about other cultural challenges, of course. No talk about supplemental oxygen. None of it. And the whole freaking book is a cover-up for this. I'll guarantee you right now, that book will not mention the name Sina Bavari. Sonia Elijah, her job when they first started working with her was not to write that book. She was meant to do some podcast or something. She was probably just an accessory to this Zen whatever Miller. I think she was just an accessory. And the Wuhan cover-up book, Jonathan Cooey, Jonathan Cooey really deserves the credit for sinking it. Actually, he didn't sink it. He made it better, but he ruined what they wanted to do as a cover-up. And I provided a lot of research as well. That book is a lead weight right now to the idea that a bunch of reckless Chinese people caused COVID. But that's what happened. When they realized how bad it was, they spun up a new group, and they realized this book needed to be written, and Robert Malone and Kevin McKernan and the rest of the traitorous crowd are all part of it. That's where we're at. And instead of having any real analysis of who this guy is, it's this George Webb bullshit about drug running and Khashoggi and all this other nonsense. It's hilarious. If you build a house, you have to build it on a solid foundation. You have to dig till you hit bedrock, or you need to use some of the newer technologies where you can hammer in metal posts till they get to a particular pressure rating or load-bearing rating. And there's ways to measure that. But you can't just start building a house anywhere you want without having a solid foundation. And almost all of this Epstein-Khashoggi stuff is built upon bullshit. It's a pile of manure. They're trying to build a house on it. And they're just hoping that if they just throw enough evidence at it, eventually something's going to stick. Sorry, it's not going to stick. Not going to stick as long as I'm around. You didn't get me in 2022. You didn't get me in 2023. I'm still kicking. That's it. That's the show. Thank you guys for listening. I'm glad I didn't touch this story until now. There was a reason why it needed to wait. And now it makes sense why. I mean, just ask someone. Ask your favorite person. Ask him to talk about Richard Verma for an hour. They'll block you. I swear to God, they'll block you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you. Take care. God bless.